I woke up yesterday morning and I found that overnight I'd reached 100 subscribers on my YouTube channel. Usually my videos are just short demonstrations where I make a few turns on a puzzle and don't really say a word. But I figured in recognition of this little milestone, I'd try my hand at something slightly more entertaining. So I gave myself a challenge. I gave myself one afternoon to come up with, design, 3D print, and process a puzzle. To make it even trickier, I decided to incorporate at least one geometry that I was completely unfamiliar with. What followed was an excruciatingly painful experience that I both greatly enjoyed and hope that I never have to repeat again. As you can see on the screen now, I decided that I'd go with an octahedral geometry, which seemed simple enough. After some trial and error, I managed to sketch a simple mechanism for what was basically a curvy version of Oscar Van Deventer's Redi cube. I didn't realize it immediately, but the round cuts would give me a big headache when I finally got around to printing the thing. Sketching the mechanism was actually the easiest part. It was a bit trickier to add the correct clearances between pieces, even though there were only 3 types of piece. I still spent a good deal of time adding fillets and moving faces. What you're seeing now is a time-lapse of the struggle that was me versus corner piece number 1, which I eventually stopped recording because it was honestly a little embarrassing how long it was taking. When I was done, I saved the files as STLs and exported them to my slicer. Here I made my last modifications, rescaled the pieces, and set infill and resolution parameters. Then it was just click print and sit back for a while. Desktop 3D printing is far from a perfect process. I found that it's best to supervise the printer whenever possible, especially when I'm working under a self-imposed deadline like this one. But it gets pretty boring if you just sit there and watch a plastic dry for a few hours, so I'd recommend always keeping a book nearby. Today's printing time book is Showdown, Thurgood Marshall and the Supreme Court Nomination That Changed America by Will Haygood. As political theater goes, Haygood's curation here is masterful. Side note, reading the biographies of the more prolific Supreme Court justices is a really great way to keep one's ego in check, so I highly recommend it to most YouTubers and online personalities in general. The rest of this scene is pretty much just a boring time-lapse of one-piece printing, which took about 20 minutes even though it's on the equivalent of a fast draft setting on the 3D printer. Night ended up coming pretty quickly and I wasn't able to finish printing all the pieces in time for my deadline, especially after I realized the core was bad. I set aside a small part of the next morning to finish the last wing pieces and reprint the core, and when that was done, I did the bare minimum of sanding required to make the puzzle look and turn at least halfway decent. Ended up with this, a fully functional Curvy Redi cube. Yeah, that's it, bye.